Yeah. You want to check you can just do a little check if you want.
Cough button.
Yeah, you can try it out. I can still hear you.
hear me too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone use it before.
What? It's
yeah.
so fun. I've never seen a cough button.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the Radical Fabulatorium. I'm your host, John Adamian, and I'm sitting in the live booth now with Elise Boulanger from British Columbia. Hello, Elise.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you.
So this is your first time out east, is that right?
It's my second time out east, but
Okay.
It's my first time touring the Maritimes.
Okay. But you said on your way in you'd never been to St. John?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd been to Fredericton maybe 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you weren't playing there, you're just visiting?
No, I was going to a political conference, actually.
Oh, really?
I flew
Okay.
all the way out and then was there for maybe 4 days and then...
Cool, from BC?
Yeah.
From Nanaimo?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So was that with the Green Party? Because you're kind of involved in politics, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, they thought, oh, we'll just let this 18-year-old go to a conference and maybe it'll be a good investment.
Yeah.
And it was. I helped with a few campaigns after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that with Jenica Atwin by any chance?
No, but I remember that name.
Yeah. Because she won in Fredericton as part of the Green Party. She has since moved to the Liberal Party, but
Right.
it was a big deal when she won.
Yeah, I remember that. No, it was just like a general national conference for the party and restructuring, reorganizing, and meeting other Young Greens, as they're called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Young Greens. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Because that party's pretty active in BC, right?
Yeah, more so than the other provinces for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Cool. So I know you're out here promoting, I guess, your new EP. That's right, a 3-track EP.
In part, yes.
Yeah, The Blooming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it was the song "Sun-Eyed" that caught my attention when I first. It was Jane from is that World Peach Records?
Yeah, indeed.
So she sent me that track, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds really." I love the way the voice kind of bounced around, and it was kind of like a trippy, energetic song, but in a really chill way. I don't know. I guess you call it chamber pop. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Trippy, energetic way. Yeah. In fact, we once played a festival and someone describing the sound of that. They're like, yeah, it's like an ice age acid trip. I'm like, what? Are you on an ice age acid trip? Was not expecting those words to come out of someone's mouth ever, but
yeah,
you kind of said something in a similar way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's the good thing about music. People can find all these crazy words to describe how it makes them feel.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
More fun describing it that way, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So is that it? That's what's the right word? That's a team effort, that EP? You worked with another songwriter?
I had recorded it and written it with Sean Patton. He's another songwriter from Nanaimo. Mm-hmm. And we actually had a music project called The Blooming. It was like a duo.
Okay, cool.
But then we split up. We were a romantic couple.
Okay.
And he really didn't want to do music together anymore. It was done in all the ways possible. Mm-hmm. And so the music hibernated for some time, and I really like the songs. You put so much effort and, it's a piece of art. So I think it should be shared in one way or another. So then we published it with our own respective names, Elise Boulanger and Sean Patton. And then we called it The Blooming.
Okay.
That's kind of the metamorphosis of it.
Yeah, well, that's I can actually relate to that because I did an EP with a previous girlfriend and the same thing happened. We split up before it was released, and then we just decided we should at least put it up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did?
And we did, yeah.
Oh, good.
So that's kind of neat.
Huh. How did you release it? Under what name?
Mary Lied.
Okay.
That was the band name.
Cool.
And we just put it out like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just up on Bandcamp.
Yeah. I'll have to listen.
Yeah.
Road trip music.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, I can send you a whole list of wicked New Brunswick bands if you want.
Yeah, there's
sure.
I think there's this fellow named Jeremy, and he has some sort of blog. It's called High Lo-Fi 5040. I can't even remember what it's called, but he makes provincial playlists.
Oh, really? Okay.
I remember when I was submitting, to playlists and so on and so forth, I found him and I was like, oh, these are great.
Oh, really?
And so every time I travel, when I was in Alberta last summer, I listened to the Alberta one. Then we were listening to the Nova Scotia one.
Cool.
Haven't started listening to the New Brunswick one, but yeah, it's just a great way to, listen to where you are.
Yeah, I would love to I might hit you up for his contact information because I'd love to see what's going on there.
Yeah, I'll send it to you for sure.
And that's interesting too, because just this morning I was listening to the playlist you curated on Spotify for tunes in your area.
Nanaimo playlist.
Yeah, it was really great. I was just kind of listening to it as background music, but I just, it'll enter my rotation now.
Yeah.
But, I thought that was cool that you had that up on your Spotify page.
Yeah, I think it's like a cool thing, and I wish like tourism would really like get more into that, because I think it's such a cool piece of understanding a place and like what it sounds like, what it is, and whether like you're exploring, you're like, where do I want to travel in the world next, and then it like allows you to like hear and sense what it sounds like or what it could be like, whether or not you actually travel there or not. And then
you kind of get a sense of the people or the culture or the vibe that's going on.
Yeah, so I don't know what like your reflections were from listening to that in the background this morning. I'm curious. So
I mean, it was all, to be honest, it was background music as I was working, so I wasn't able to like deep dive into it.
Yeah,
but I really enjoyed the flow of the music. It sounded like traditional music mixed with contemporary music. Like that's how it sounded. Like there's one song in particular that sounded like it was like First Nations music mixed with like some sort of electronic beat going on. Yeah, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's Ait Laylam.
What's the name?
Ait Laylam. It means good house. Yeah, they're like they're a Sinaimach based like Coast Salish fashion designer. And so it's like this family, and their mom like designs couture dresses, and then the two daughters like help, and they've been doing really great things like going to New York Fashion Week, and their father and brother are carvers. And so it's like this huge artwork family.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah.
That's really, and they're finding success with it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, speaking of traveling, like you're one to travel, right? I remember I was reading that you went to France to hunt down your family lineage.
That is correct.
So what was that all about? Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, go for it. I just think as like a settler Canadian, I find it so bizarre how there's this disattachment or like unknownness of like where you came from before, because obviously a lot of people who live in so-called Canada, they have a similar story, right? And so I'm curious. I'm like, what happened to my family to make us come here? And so it's like a big treasure hunt in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll usually like go to, so with the France example, I went to really small places that are actually called communes. That's just how they call their little small villages.
Okay.
And so I'd go to like l'Hôtel de Marie, the town hall, and then some places they'd have really, really, really old books, and so I just sit there for hours like reading the cursive and then writing it in French and then translating it after. Okay. So yeah, you don't really know where you're going to end up. Wow. And you might find some dead ends, but yeah, I was able to actually, I'm wearing a USB around my neck. Last night we were staying in PEI, and we're staying with my second cousin's who's since passed husband. And the second cousin, she was the one who like led me to where I should go to find where her family came from France. So yeah. So
you keep that as a reminder?
Well, just so I don't lose it, because I just got it.
Oh, you just got it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's just a USB. He like took all the files from her computer from her genealogy research.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I'm just safe keeping it for now.
Okay. Wow. So when you're literally in France, you're just kind of like going with the flow, like following threads. Like if you get some information, you go to this commune and...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and just knock on doors, and it's super French there, and so you have to speak French, and that's the only way around it.
The way around it. And so, but you're not Quebecois French?
No, not at all.
Yeah, okay.
No.
So you're France French?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, from Alsace.
Okay.
Or Lorraine, rather, in Belgium.
Okay. Oh, from Belgium. Oh, cool. Yeah. Tintin.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where the comics from.
Tintin
that's right.
Okay. Thing for sure. You got excited.
Yeah, I did get excited. Well, it's more, I'm stealing some cred from my wife. She's the Tintin fan.
Okay. Shout out to your wife.
Shout out to my wife, Kendall. Yeah, but I can pretend to be a Tintin fanatic. Yeah. So that's cool. So then, did your journey stop because you came across a dead end, or you just kind of like you found out all you wanted to find?
In a way, I remember I found. I went to like the town hall of a different place, and I was like, no, like my family definitely lived here, but they couldn't like find any records for whatever reason. And there was like another young woman who had like the same last name as me. Not that really means anything, because, names can lead to places or not. Yeah. And there's lots of people with the same last name. Anyways, and then I went behind to the cemetery, spent a lot of time in cemeteries, and I found a gravestone that said Elise Boulanger on it, which was like kind of creepy.
Yeah, your name. Yeah,
I was like, oh, So I just stood there for a while.
Yeah.
And then, I eventually found one with like 4 ancestors on top of it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, those are my like 4th great grandparents for sure.
Wow.
And so I like tidied it up. They have these little fences around them.
Okay.
And then in some places in the world, I know like Germany and France, for example, if you don't pay a fee every 50 years or something, then they'll just put a new body on top of the plot.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, oh, I better make this look good. I was trying to figure out how to pay for this plot, but they're like, we don't have any records of this plot. I'm like, but it's physically right here. And there's like a headstone. So that was kind of an interesting, funny thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So you got to pay, you got to keep your fees, your cemetery fees
your
up
rent.
to date. Your rent. Your eternal
cemetery rent.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. So I kind of like to think about travel, so I want to ask you another question.
Go ahead.
Were you down in Belize at one point?
I wasn't, in
You
Belize.
were? Okay, making drums? Or were you like, okay, can you tell me about that? Because that must have been a cool experience.
Yeah, so it was during my time at university. I was doing a global studies degree.
Okay.
And so they really encouraged you to go globally and learn things. And so I was on a scholarship called the Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee, and it was specifically to support coastal resilience in coastal communities.
Okay, cool.
And so I was doing a sound production internship in a small village called Hopkins, which is of the Garifuna culture.
Garifuna, okay.
Yeah. And so I was staying at a drum school. Mm-hmm. So they have these massive drums, like the size of if you put your arms in a big circle and you touch your fingertips, like that big, and then other smaller ones. So it's like really lively and exciting.
Okay.
And they're really talented, and they just do their rhythm so fast.
Huge drum circles?
No, not usually in a circle formation, actually. It's maybe like 2 rows. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes there would be someone like playing the back of a tortoise shell, but not as much anymore because they're like a more sensitive species. Mm-hmm. But that was like part of one of the traditional instruments there.
Okay.
And lots of really great singing.
And they build the drums themselves?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's really cool. I did see a little video that you had
I made the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can be out of like rosewood or mahogany typically, and then like white-tailed deer and jungle vines to sew them all up. But then you can also just make them out of like PVC pipe and like bright yellow rope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I bet they sound nice, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's really interesting. So you're down there as part of your global studies program, which was at the Vancouver Island University.
Correct. Yep.
And that kind of like combines because I know you're like a climate change advocate. Mm-hmm. So that kind of combines that with the music, right? Did that all come together cohesively? Like, was that kind of planned out?
In a way, I guess. Yeah. I just like my 2 main things in life are music and the environment. So it was a synthesis of the 2 then.
It was
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And does that obviously informs your songwriting?
Yeah.
Those experiences.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
Yeah. When I was in Belize there, I was trying to write a Radiohead song.
Okay. On
a driftwood log, and then I don't think it sounds like a Radiohead song. It's my song "It Started in the Garden," which is recorded, and we can maybe play it as a segue. But that's where that started.
Okay, that's where you started writing that song there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was no garden around.
It just why do you call it? Why do you say Radiohead? You just wanted to be
I just really like Radiohead.
Okay.
I think I was trying to make like repeating rhythms and things like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I did hear that song earlier. I'll cut it into the show, or maybe I'll start off the show with it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna play "Sun-Eyed" for sure because that's probably like my favorite song off that EP. And I'm gonna be selfish and play it.
Great. Enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah, thanks. But are you classically trained?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a bit? Because I noticed your vocal range and stuff is really interesting, and the way you kind of like express yourself, like in the melodies. Is that something you feel is something you can dive into? Yeah,
I'm not like super aware of where my voice moves up and down. Like in general, when I'm performing my original compositions under Elise Boulanger, my voice is quite high. Okay. Like compared to like most singers nowadays. But yeah, I have an expansive range, I would say. So yeah, I grew up doing like classical voice lessons through my childhood and adolescent years. And then I went to the Victoria Conservatory of Music for a couple of years. And so I have a diploma in voice.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, I wasn't super taken by the whole operatic world. I didn't like the repertoire as much as I felt you should if you're going to pursue that as a life.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm okay. I learned some great stuff. And then after that, I focused on songwriting.
Okay.
And then, yeah. But what influenced me from my classical background is probably just like the harmonies and the instrumentation for sure. So when my band's playing with me, it's like a baby orchestra.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can kind of hear how that all pieces together, or in a different way, kind of like you can kind of like see each instrument is playing a specific role. Like
sometimes, yeah.
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 So when you say the repertoire for opera music, is that because it's kind of like, is it kind of like the same shows over and over, or is there new opera pieces that would be being written?
Well, I think, yeah, like in Europe, I think in like Holland, for example, there's like a lot of new opera there, but I just didn't like the sounds. I just didn't, or the harmonies or the songs enough to just want to sing them. You know, when you hear your favorite song and then you find yourself singing along with it, I didn't have that feeling.
You didn't have, okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
But the physical training would be obviously beneficial because kind of singing is your whole body. And
yeah. Big body awareness.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I started taking vocal lessons recently, like a couple of years ago, to kind of overcome a fear. And it was really strange. It was really intimidating, actually. Really scary. But
what were you scared of, if I may ask?
I'm just kind of shy in general. And I'm also like, most of my life I've been scared of most things, like what people think.
Fair.
And so, it was, and also I was just like growing up in high school, I was like the kid who did really good on tests and everything. So I was like good at things right away. So that combination was just really brutal.
Yeah.
It was more
humble yourself, but work through a fear. Yeah. It's so funny. So, I'll teach music sometimes, and some people will like work up the courage to like come for a music lesson like yourself, and they've just been like, people have told them sometimes that they just like couldn't sing, and then that one person just like created their whole mental trajectory for years and years and years, and it's so sad because everyone can definitely sing, and it's a beautiful thing to share. Yeah
I agree. And actually, so tonight I'm going to my second choir practice ever.
I was about to encourage that.
Oh yeah. That's why this choir started. It's like a community choir, a brand new one.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons the organizer started it, is for people to get over exactly what you just said. People who were told or have this scar in their memory.
It's the big one.
And just show up and sing and just like express yourself. And they always say the music will take care of itself. You know, like just get used to being around people, projecting your voice.
Yeah.
And but it's really interesting because it's like a 3-part harmony.
Yeah.
And like most people listening to contemporary music, the vocal is like the melody. And so that's kind of what you're singing along to. But me and a couple other gentlemen are like in the bass, the lower range. So it's like, in my mind, it's incredibly hard to like not follow along with the melody. Like we're doing like the bass notes. And so like the melody might be rising while the bass note's going down, like in a counter. And I'm just like, wow, this is so hard on the mind. So difficult.
The pull and the tension.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
It's fun. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but like you can feel it in your body when like things are maybe discordant and then they come into harmony on top of each other. It's like, it's a visceral feeling for me, at least.
Do you find it's like tension and release?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Or one of my favorite things to do is just like when you're in a choral setting is to just stop singing and then just close your eyes and listen, and it's like one of the most magical things in the world.
Oh, really?
Have you tried that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to try it tonight. Okay. I mean, or maybe at a later choir practice. This is only the second one.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's just like so beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so just kind of just soak it all in.
Yeah, just like all the different resonances around you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I will try that. There's only 4 of us in the bass section, so and it is only our second practice, but I'll sneak that in sometime.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice just to be in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always the best,
really. Or singing in a circle is way nicer than like singing in rows, I find.
Oh, really? Singing in a circle?
Yeah.
Just because you're facing each other?
Yeah, you can just like sense the harmonies and like the resonance coming out of people's mouths.
Really?
Way more. Yeah.
Huh, I never thought of that.
It's a fun thing to try. Yeah, ask your director to try it one day.
Sing in a circle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to write that down.
Or like if you're singing with somebody and you're singing the same part, like you're fellow bass singer, if your heights, your physical heights are similar, and you're like your mouths are open, and I don't know how far you need to stand from each other, maybe, I don't know, 50 centimeters or so.
Okay.
You can like feel the vibrations like coming out of each other's mouths, and they'll like do this weird thing.
Okay.
It's like this weird vibrational thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's more of a feeling.
Yeah, you can just like, you can sense that you're like doing the same sound wave.
Okay. Yeah. The sound waves get in sync.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
that makes sense.
The sound waves get in sync.
Yeah. Okay. Because the sine waves would amplify. That's okay. That's interesting. Now that's fascinating.
Fun things to try.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll keep listen out for the sine wave amplification. Speaking of sine waves.
Yeah.
I was reading that you were kind of teaching yourself or overcoming the resistance to do some at-home recording. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah.
So I know a few songwriters who are resistant to at-home recording, like to learning how to do it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you about that. Was there, because I studied audio engineering before I even started writing songs. So I kind of like come at it from the other direction.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious at what caused the resistance.
I don't know. I just don't think I enjoy the process of like clicking stuff on a computer and like troubleshooting it all. I just like want to have fun and make something that sounds pretty.
Yeah.
But like you can do so many amazing things with like a digital audio workstation.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm just like a bit too impatient for it. And I'd rather just someone that has that ease to like, you know, just have that conversation and go about and do with it. But it's good for like when you're preparing to like do a recording at home and stuff like that.
Yeah, for demoing or just getting ideas down on paper, so to speak.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not something you'd pursue in like some people get that when they get a taste of it, they like get obsessed with it.
Yeah, I'd like to have that obsession.
Yeah, but it's not there.
Maybe it'll show itself eventually. Yeah, I did like I've done some like soundtrack stuff or like what's called a theme open when you have like a television show, for example, and it's the music that's being played with like on this episode of da 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 da, and they list the characters. Yeah, I did one of those for a haunting TV series. Okay. And I like making like creepy music. Okay. So that was enjoyable. And I did that all myself at home. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So that's like a legit gig. You got a credit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty solid.
I like, I think I enjoy it more when it's like making something that's like not my Elise Boulanger music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so it's just kind of like not connected to your singer-songwriter.
Yeah, stuff. Precisely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you working on a new album or anything?
Yeah, I'm in the process of it, and I'll be finishing the recording at the end of October.
At the end of October?
Yeah, it's a climate change related album.
Sweet.
And it's going to be called Oh Earthling.
Oh Earthling?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice name.
Oh, Earthling. Okay. As we all are. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's topics like forest fires and climate change in general, and like a little bit of like ocean acidification. Mm-hmm. But
that creeps me out, to be honest. Yeah. Ocean acidification.
Yeah. Well, you can't see it, and it's like eroding all the little crustaceans and stuff, especially in this part of the world, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to be releasing that in 2024. 2024. My goal for this year was to finish that. So yeah, when I get back home from this tour, that's where my focus will be.
Awesome. So we'll be looking out for that in 2024?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it'll be mostly climate change focused. So it'll have a nice message to the music. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And 2024, is that coming out on Jane's label? No.
I'll probably just self-release it.
Self-release it? Okay, cool. Was she helping you book the tour at all? Or
Yeah.
Cool.
She primarily booked most of the maritime tour.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a big job, booking on the other side of the country.
Yeah. I've booked some of my own tours in Western so-called Canada, but I was just a little bit too busy, so I'm happy to have had the help.
Yeah. Helps big.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So where have you been in the Maritimes since you've been here?
Since I've been here in the Maritimes, I flew into Halifax and then played a show in New Glasgow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the people there were really nice. I played at a spot called the Shoebox Cantina.
Oh, cool.
Do you know about that?
No,
place?
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
It's like they also have a recording studio, and then they have like a bar restaurant that used to be owned by someone else, but then they put it up for sale. So then they created it to be the Shoebox Cantina, and so they have a really nice stage at the back of the room, so everything's like looking down like a vertical room or a passageway room rather. And they have like audio engineers who usually work in the studio who will do the sound.
Cool.
So that's nice. Yeah. So you're taken good care of there.
That's nice. Do they record the sets as well?
Yeah. If you want, they can do that for you and like do video and stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then I was going to play in Dartmouth, but that's been postponed because of the hurricane, but that's all good.
Okay.
And then, I'll have played in Fredericton and Perth Andover, and then I'll go to Wolfville and in Dartmouth. Yeah.
Cool. And then fly out to Halifax?
Yeah, precisely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wolfville's nice. It's like a small, I shouldn't say, well, it's kind of a small town, but it's a university town.
Okay.
So it's probably pretty vibrant right now.
Yeah.
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 Acadia University is there.
Yeah.
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 So that's pretty, and you're touring just as a solo act, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I find it's easier to tour as a solo act before you like bring your whole band in, because it's like a big investment.
Big investment.
For sure.
And you normally have a cello player in the band?
Yeah. So when I'm solo, I'll sing and play the ukulele and the piano. And then building upon that will be cello and then violin and then percussion.
Okay.
So with some samples as well as a drum kit.
Okay.
And then recently have been playing with a stand-up bassist. And then
nice.
Sometimes there's a trombone, but
cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice ensemble.
Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, I can see that being, getting the double bass and the cello out here. Would you rent instruments, or would they bring their own instruments with them, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to ask them.
Yeah.
I mean, I rented a keyboard out here and like a mic stand and brought my ukulele. I don't know. People are pretty like precious with their instruments and like the touch of them and how they feel, but
yeah, it can make a big difference.
What have you interviewed many bands that have been on tour in the Maritimes since working at the radio station?
Mostly local bands so far. Yeah. I interviewed one band from actually Victoria, BC, but that was at Google Meet or whatever.
Okay.
Awesome band, actually. Ex-Cowboy. You ever heard of them?
No, I haven't.
They're like a punk rock kind of shoegazy band.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Nice.
They have good messages in their music too.
Good.
And but my old band used to tour Canada a bit, so I've done that whole thing, carrying around precious instruments, hoping that no one breaks into the vehicle and takes them. So so far so good.
I had one person say that not many people come and play in the Maritimes. I found that interesting, so I keep wanting to ask people who live here about that. Yeah,
it's tricky. So it's interesting about New Brunswick is because there's kind of like a buzz going on right now. The population's going up, and COVID kind of like made that happen quicker. And so St. John in particular,
like because people are having babies, you mean?
Families are moving here from Ontario and BC because of the affordability.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people came out here, and when the remote work thing was kind of happening.
Yeah.
So like if you look at the graph for statistics in New Brunswick, the population's like straight line, decline, straight line, then boom, just like a hockey stick of like tens of thousands of people.
Wow.
Which of course has its challenges, but in the same time, it's created this kind of like optimistic bubbling up.
Okay.
And so there's a bunch of cool like music happening. There's a bunch of immigrants have come here opening cool restaurants and grocery stores.
Yeah.
And so the vibe is really interesting. But it is true, a lot of people will stop at Quebec City.
Okay.
And they'll consider that like the east coast of Canada. And St. John specifically even gets skipped over. Even if someone stops in New Brunswick, it's usually like Fredericton, Moncton, and then they go on to Halifax.
Yeah.
They don't swing down to St. John. But I feel like that's changing.
Yeah, it's not that far from Fredericton.
No, it's really not. No. It's like 50 minutes, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are venues opening here more and more, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you about a word, actually, because I saw this, again, I was kind of doing some research.
Yeah, you're doing good on the research.
Oh, yeah.
Kudos.
It's fun. This is the best part about interviewing people.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Waldlust.
Waldlust.
How do you say that?
I think it's Waldlust.
Waldlust. Okay. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, as I understand it, it's a German word, which means like lust for the forest. Wald meaning woods or forest, and Lust meaning lust, as we know in the English language.
Okay.
I don't remember where I would have said that now, but I know that I spoke about that word, Waldlust.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Oh, no, it's good. I love words. I think they're so cool. And it's just like a love for the forest, and we don't necessarily have a word for that in the English language. So I like learning those other words that English doesn't have, because they're often so very beautiful.
Yeah. That's a great one because, I've talked to a few local artists who that's kind of where they get the inspiration. They walk in the woods. And that's kind of how they describe it. Like, I just go for walks in the woods.
Yeah.
But I guess that one word would summarize that whole
Encapsulate
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. What about deep cultural mapping? Is that still a thing you do? You're like,
job.
Man, who is this guy, right?
Be prepared if you're getting interviewed, everyone. Deep cultural mapping. Yeah. So that's the thing I did once. I was part of a research project, and it was really great. It brought together a bunch of different professors, different educational backgrounds, fields of studies, and different students. And so there was like the planning department, geography, I can't remember the other ones now, but basically it was a project to go to smaller cities. This was specifically happening on Vancouver Island, where I live.
Yep.
And various community members would be interviewed, so like yourself, and I'd ask you, why do you feel connected to this place? So if you right now had to answer that question for where we are in the world right now, what would you say?
I would say I feel connected because of this radio station, actually.
Yep.
Because I used to work in like heavy industry.
Okay.
And I went from like music, heavy industry back to music. And I'm kind of a recovering cynic, to be honest. So if you had asked me this 18 months ago, I'd probably give you a pretty depressing answer.
Fair.
But I've kind of changed my thinking.
Okay, recovering cynic.
I'm a recovering
cynic,
yeah.
You're listening to Recovering Cynic on. So various people would be asked that question. And then, so with like GIS software, there would be a map created.
Okay.
And so the university in this particular building, it would have like a little pin. And so if you were checking out a community, like St. John, for example, then you'd click on it and then like a video of you would appear saying exactly what you just said.
Okay.
And then it would allow people to like have an opportunity to explore a particular place through a different perspective. So
Wow.
someone's like really personal perspective versus like the tourism of St. John's, top 10 places to eat and go walk. It's, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's more personable. And so it was with the idea to try and like revitalize and strengthen a smaller city. And so we did that in 3 different places. And then, I think it was part of someone's PhD project or something.
Cool.
And then I later did like a little video summary about that project.
Okay.
Through the social science recovery. Oh my gosh. Humanities.
Storytellers Challenge, right?
Yeah. Through the Canada like Humanities and Research Council. Yeah. SSHRC.
It seemed really cool. So
Yeah.
that was like technology someone was trying to spin into like something you could use across the country.
Yeah, like a model for
a
sure.
model.
And I
Wow.
don't know what happened after it because I thought it was super cool.
Yeah, it seemed really cool.
Yeah, it was done in the communities of Nanaimo, where I'm from, Port Alberni, and I think Comox.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put a little asterisk because maybe I'll follow up on that because I thought it was again kind of what you just said. If you could click on it and then get like a personal little snippet, like an anecdote of what's going on, that's so interesting to me. Such a great way to, because it was GIS software, right?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. I'll check that out.
Where is Here? It was called.
Where is Here? Oh yeah, the Where is Here project.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of fascinated by people who have you ever read the book Range? Have you heard of that book?
Nope.
So it's this professor that did a book studying people who kind of like. There's always that debate between like out of high school, go get a job right away, stick in your field, and like years later you develop your career. And then but then there's lots of people who bounce around who do things like in chunks of time, and sometimes they like get hurt. They're down on themselves, or like someone might be like saying, pick something and stick to it. But the whole book is kind of like pinpointing all these interesting people who took seemingly unconnected areas of expertise, and then later in their life when they were maybe 30, 40, or 50, it all just like comes together and turns into some huge, like he uses Van Gogh as one of the big examples of someone and he started painting like later in life after trying all these failed businesses and stuff. And it sounds like you jump around like from place to place like that.
Yeah, but
So I thought that was interesting.
I like learning. That was for university more so, that one. But I like learning, and there's so many curious things to check out in the world.
Yeah, tons of curious things. Cool. All right. Well, I do have one other. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I did too much research. Am I making?
Go for it. No, go for it.
Because, like I said, this is kind of selfish. I kind of enjoy learning myself.
Yeah. No, great. That's what we just said.
Yeah, that's right. So I noticed. I think you just left the position as program coordinator. That's right.
This is
at the Mid Island Métis Nation.
Yeah.
Wichaheo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great pronunciation.
And I thought that was pretty cool. So you were helping bring people into post-secondary education?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was for Indigenous students.
Yeah.
That were interested in transitioning to post-secondary education, if that was like something that they wanted for themselves.
Okay.
And so I would just like meet them where they were at and let them know of various resources that could like help them choose classes or understand like what jobs were there or like funding and things like that.
And when you say transition, does that mean because they've gone to a school system on their land and now they want to get into like university? What does that mean by transition? Just
like if you went to elementary school, if you went to high school, then you go to university. But for Indigenous students, there's less graduates statistically speaking. So just giving those supports because of past histories and there being like a difficult relationship with education and like formal education and things like that. So that could be someone who like didn't finish elementary school or is still finishing high school, or someone who's graduated and lived life doing certain things, but now they want to go back to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Lots of various stories.
Okay. That's interesting because when I was I lived in Fredericton for a little bit. And I was totally like 100% ignorant to the divide in the education. Like I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And but I remember we played a couple shows at the high school on the reserve in Fredericton. Nice. And like, I'm not even...
What's it called again? Does it start with a B, the one that starts with a B?
I honestly can't even remember. So I guess I'm still pretty ignorant to it.
Yeah.
But I just remember, it had never even entered my mind that there was like, again, this was like my early 20s. It hadn't even entered my mind that they were like, that there was a high school there and that like I just felt so disconnected from it. So until we went into the building and played.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, why does it feel like it's like tucked away over here? I don't like the whole thing is like not talked about.
Well, it's great you went in and played.
Yeah. Well, we got invited to play. But
great.
Yeah, some kids who liked us.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I was just kind of curious that seems like that was a nice role for you to be doing to help people get into secondary education or post-secondary education.
Yeah. I got that job because I attended a dream catcher making workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
I know.
That's awesome.
It's my favorite hiring story.
So go into that further. What do you mean? You signed up for the class?
Yeah, they're just like different cultural workshops, and I think I was following the newsletter, and then we're just weaving putting string and the hide around the ring of the dream catcher, and then I was just overhearing that they needed someone to do this job, and I was like, well, I could use a job. And so I prepared my resume and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it was looked at. And I just started off there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's one of those serendipitous encounters, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Time and place.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dream catchers. And did you make a dream catcher?
I did, and then I accidentally snipped part of it, so now it's in like the form of like a sickle moon. So I'll fix it one day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
Still looks nice though.
That's awesome. So you had that position for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I kind of like people with stories like yourself, kind of all over the place, or at least it seems like that to me.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. Which is like right up my alley. So, all right, cool. So you got a new album coming out in 2024. You're in the Maritimes right now.
Indeed.
People may be listening to this into the future. So they'll have perhaps not had a chance to see the shows, but you'll be playing in BC, I imagine, in the coming months.
I don't know, actually. I'm going to focus more on recording in the coming months.
Okay.
Yeah, more so in 2024.
2024, when the album hits.
Yeah, actually, I might be playing a festival in October, so that's kind of a lie now that I think about it, but yeah.
Festival can be an exception.
I'm trying to perform less.
Okay.
And focus more on the recording side of things.
And you'll probably hit the road when the album comes out?
Potentially. Yeah. I'll see where I'm at that time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can let us know with a little bit, like we're trying to get into the habit of doing live artists in the room next door.
Okay.
So like a kind of a tiny desks knockoff, So if the timing is right, you can drop us a line. And
for sure.
Yeah, we can do that. Where's the best place for people to check out your music or get in touch with you?
Wherever they like to listen to their music, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube or Bandcamp. My website is eliseboulanger.com. ELISEBOULANGER.com. And yeah, if they want to get in touch with me, you can send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or email or whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So you heard it here, folks. Check out the .com. Let's support .coms and Bandcamp. I really enjoy Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Let's support Bandcamp. Not sponsored or anything, just saying. All right, thanks a lot for coming in, Elise. It was really nice to talk to you. Awesome. Okay.